The Resident Evil 4 Remake trailer looked absolutely insane and very promising, but after viewing the trailer, it's no secret that the remake will not entirely be faithful to the original. With that said, in this video, I will be going over 7 things I would like to see in the Resident Evil 4 Remake. Before we jump in, if you are excited for the Resident Evil 4 Remake, then maybe consider subscribing because I've got a lot of content and discussion videos coming soon regarding the game. But anyways, with that being said, let's get right into the video. Number 1. I want to see Ada have a larger role in the game. Ada Wong is a fan favorite character loved by many and even got her very own mini campaign in the original Resident Evil 4. Notice how I said mini campaign. Ada Wong's story was very fun and fulfilling, but there was just a ton of content left out that was totally unnecessary. The campaign did feature a fair amount of unique locations exclusive to Ada's story, but even so, I believe separate ways could be much better. Most of her story purely consists of her interactions with Leon throughout the game, so we never really got to see what her own perspective was throughout. So I think they should do something similar to Leon and Claire's scenarios from Resident Evil 2. Make them both full-length playthroughs and include some significant differences in both stories. Sources have claimed that Ada's campaign would be extended, however Capcom hasn't announced anything about it, so nothing is set in stone just yet. Number 2. I want the game to be much scarier, but I also want them to keep the heavy action. After the trailer was released, it seems that Capcom is aiming for a much darker tone in the remake, so the game will definitely be scarier, but this is where my concern comes from. I'm all for the game being scarier, but I feel like Capcom needs to keep action as the main focus, as that is what made the game the masterpiece it is today. If they can get the right balance between action and horror, it would make for a perfect game. Now with the game having a darker tone, there are many cool new features I'd like to see. The most important one being stalker roles. As we know, Mr. X was a major success in the RE2 remake, and I would say his stalker role was executed perfectly. If they incorporate the same stalker role style to Chief Mendez, Dr. Salvador, or the Vertigo, then it would be a perfect way to keep the player on the edge of their seat the entire time. I think the better of the 3 would be Dr. Salvador, as you could hear the echoes of a chainsaw get closer and closer as he approaches Leon. Number 3. The camera perspective has a big role on how we play the game. Some like first person, while others prefer the third person over the shoulder camera we got in the RE2 and 3 remakes. They are both good in their own ways. First person can make the game much scarier as you are up close and feel more immersed in the game. On the other hand, third person over the shoulder gives you a clear look at the fan favorite Leon Kennedy and gives you a much better surrounding view. They are both good in their own ways, but some fans prefer one over the other. So with that said, why not add both? This way you could please everyone by offering 2 completely different game experiences. You could even do the same thing for inventory management also. They can make it to where you could play the game with the briefcase inventory or the storage box inventory. Number 4. So let's talk about Mercenaries. I would love to see a lot more content added to this game mode. I'd love to see brand new maps, since having just the 4 gets dull really quick. I also would like to see new weapon selections. I think it'd be cool if you could be able to customize the exact loadout you want before starting. Obviously there would be limitations to this, like removing overpowered weapons as an option. Another thing Mercenaries could use is new game modes. What they did with RE4 VR's Mercenaries was very cool, and I'd love to see all of those game modes return to the remake, as well as a few new ones. I would also like to see more playable characters. I'm not really sure why Luis wasn't in the original Mercenaries, but they definitely need Luis as a playable character in the remake. They could also potentially include the Merchant and Ashley if they make her combat trained. Very unlikely, but we will see. One more thing I'd like to see from the Mercenaries is a co-op mode so you can play with your friends. Number 5. RE4 has a very high replayability, and many fans have played through the game dozens upon dozens of times, meaning most people know the game inside and out. With that said, in order to keep the game from getting dull, I think it is very necessary to add a lot more new content. Luckily, the trailer shows a lot of new stuff, like nighttime settings, backstory of the characters, and potentially more Ashley playable sections. I know a lot of people are wanting Capcom to just copy and paste the original and just improve graphics, but I'm telling you, it would get dull really quick and the game wouldn't have high replayability. So I do believe big new changes are necessary to keep the game interesting. Number 6. Ashley needs some sort of improvement. A lot of people dislike Ashley because she was useless, annoying, and always found a way to get in the way of the battle. Hopefully Capcom has taken all of this into consideration when remaking the game. Now me personally, what I'd like to see from Ashley is for her to aid Leon in battle. She could pick up items, act as a distraction, or maybe even arm herself with a small handgun. Number 7. I would love to see elements from the beta version of the game to be included in the remake. Possessed dolls, the fog enemy, new settings, and the infamous Hookman creature would all be very good assets from 3.5 that could be transferred. Specifically though, I would love to see the Hookman creature. He was such a good concept from the beta, and if incorporated correctly, the Hookman could even play a stalker type role. Aside from the beta, the original game had many terrifying rejected Ganado designs that I would love to see come to life. And there you have it. That is 7 things I would like to see in the Resident Evil 4 remake. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you would personally like to see. But anyways guys, that is going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.